My name is Brian Brinkley. I've been here for 18 years as the director of the Betty Holdenstike Education Laboratory. I was fortunate to receive the North Carolina Teaching Fellow Scholarship. The Teaching Fellows Scholarship was a program where we worked with other universities and with professors from the first time we got here as a freshman to do service projects, to do ambassadorship, to take courses in teaching even from the first days that we were on campus. So I was really lucky to get the Teaching Fellow Scholarship. I came to UNCW on August the something. It depends on when I'm telling the story. So it was like about August the 9th, something like that. My mom and my sister had dropped me off and then they drove away. I was free, you know? That was fun. We had all those beginning of the year activities, and there was a concert that was going to be held in the Union, and it was a guy just with a guitar. I can't remember his name. My wife would remember. And I met her there. She would say love at first sight. It was belonging. Call it 6 days of freedom. We knew we were going to get married. We knew we were both going to be teachers. 31 years of teaching, taught for 13 and a half years in North Carolina public schools. So that Teaching Fellows Scholarship was a good investment, I think, for the state of North Carolina. I wound up teaching kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. That was one of my goals. I wanted to be able to say, just give me kids. I would love to teach. We taught in Duplin County for several years. And then we moved back to Wilmington, taught at Sunset Park, and then helped start Winter Park as a model school. Worked at Bellamy Elementary School for several years. And then my wife and I both decided to leave our jobs on the same day in New Hanover County and started Cape Fear Center for Inquiry, the first charter school in the region. I worked there for 5 years. Then our daughter was born. Grayson was born. I taught at Coddington, a year-round school, so that we would have more time with our daughter at home. And then in January of 2007, got to come to UNCW. And you might imagine, our daughter was 3 years old, right? Things change when you have a kiddo, for good and for not so good. We're trying to figure out how to balance all this, right? We'd been married for 10 years, and we were trying to figure out how this worked. And yeah, UNCW came at the right time again. A couple of professors that I'd had asked me if I would apply for the Ed Lab director's job. It had never had a full-time director. It was always an appointment of a faculty member, and they had decided that the Ed Lab needed a full-time director. And I worked with Becky Walker when I got the job here, and she taught me everything I needed to know. We had great years of figuring out what children needed, and I got to parlay that into what future teachers needed. And the more I taught them the way that I taught elementary school, the more they absorbed. And what I mean by that, they want to be seen, and they want to be heard, and they want to know that they make a difference. That is what everybody wants. But in terms of becoming a teacher, I mean, can you imagine somebody graduating from UNCW going into the classroom and their primary responsibility is to see and hear children? That's what we're here for. That's what the Ed Lab is for, to be a place where learning is important and learners are important. It's hard work, but it's also the hard work of what public education is about, but also what the United States of America is about. I mean, this is about lifting people up. I told my story about how UNCW lifted me up. That's the promise of public education. We need to engage teachers and allow teachers and support teachers to do that for everybody, That's what the Ed Lab is about too, lifting them up to reach their fullest potential so that they can help others reach their fullest potential. How do you put 35 years into a word of how this university has changed my life? I got a little note one time, a long time ago, that said, education is the key that unlocks any door. this many years later, looking back on that, that is absolutely what UNCW has provided for me. The education, both academic and personal and professional, all three of those components are the education that has made my life possible, you know? As a first-generation college student, how do you put all that into a word to say what UNCW set in motion for me? I don't think there's a way to put it into words. And got a wife out of it too, and a daughter. That's pretty wild. I think it kind of made a life for me. UNCW made life for me. Made my life, saved my life.